Okay, right. Hello, everybody. Welcome everybody, to our second stakeholder event. Do you remember we had the first one way back in October last year? So, good to see everybody. New year. This event was called You Said We Did. So, you came to us last year with lots of different ideas and things that you'd like to see. So, we thought we'd sort of like put as money where his mouth is. You said we've done. Well, we hope we have. So, we'll go through that today. So, if we can just start with housekeeping first of all. So I know some of you have been to the public college before, some of you haven't. So if there is a fire alarm, that's a real fire alarm, we're not testing today. So the fire exits are straight through this door here next to the river and then through the door where you came from, where you came in from as well. The toilets are just behind this door there where Elaine is, and if you turn right straight through to the toilets there. It's no smoking building, it's no smoking ground, so if you do want to go and have a quick fag, it's outside, please, out of the grounds of the building. And yeah, we just want you to enjoy yourselves and have a lovely time with us over the next couple of hours. We've got a full presentation today to show you, and then we're going to stop for some lunch. We've got some lunch in the room next door, and then come back, and that's where we're going to expect to do some work. So you see, you can't expect us to come and have lunch, but we want some ideas from you as well, so we'll do that afterwards. And we will definitely be finishing for 2 o'clock. Okay, it might finish earlier, but we will definitely not go over 2 o'clock because I know it's a Sunday and everyone's got Sunday to get home. So that's that. So we'll start with introductions. I know most of you know me. So my name's Jane Taylor, the Technical Health and Quality, and I'm involved in Barnsley.
I'm Michaela Kenworthy. I'm lead on Trans Barnsley. I'm also a peer support worker at Recovery College.
I'm Ruth Spencer-Lewis, we're doing last names. Assistant psychologist with Trans Barnsley.
And behind the camera, we've got our favourite person, Linz, who's doing all the videoing for us today. So we can't be in front of the camera. Right, we were going to have a talk today from Pippa. Unfortunately, Pippa's poorly, so there is a link here to Pippa's story on our website, which we're going to print out for you. So we have printed out for you.
Just on this table.
A copy of it if you want to read it and just see where we are. Pippa's a really valuable member of our group. Okay, so at the last stakeholder event we did, which was October, I believe, we asked some questions. We asked you to have a look at those questions and see what you thought, what your responses were. And so this event, being You Said You Did, we did. So you said we should look for more volunteers, a bigger social media presence, different outlets, events, workshops, guest speakers, and more visibility. You also said further reach out into the community, more visibility in the community, and transparency, and more funding. We did more online content.
Next one.
This is what we did for Transgender Day Remembrance. Right, one of the reasons we put that up there this morning is really it's a little bit hard hitting. The Transgender Day Remembrance is something that happens every year in November. The figures that we get are collected from around the world, from countries that are willing to participate in reporting trans murders, manslaughter and suicide. So the figures that you see there aren't necessarily the true figures. The true figures are probably 2 or 3 times that amount, but there are a lot of countries that don't subscribe. Transgender Day of Remembrance is an international event, so we wanted to put that on there to mark our trans brothers and sisters who have struggled in our fight. So, and then it's gone blank. Should we go
Probably
blank?
press one thing. Don't press that one. So another thing we've done is online social groups. So you wanted more places to be able to talk outside of group. We had one group, some people that are here might remember, you wanted to go ahead and try the Facebook private invite only group. So a member of the group, which is Pippa, who unfortunately isn't here, actually decided that she would help us moderate this. So we set it up, we trialed it, and that's now going quite well. Most people that come to the group are asked if they want to be added to the group, and it's a space everybody can feel safe and can talk outside of group, basically. And then recently we've had Discord as well. We're aware that a few younger members are much more comfortable using Discord these days. So we've had another member of the group actively want to start up Discord, be able to moderate it. So that has recently just been set up. So the link will be sent out soon to new members.
Yeah, we did a group schedule. So we included in there some workshops on improving mental health, more talks and guest speakers, and still keeping some of our chilled sessions. It's important that we don't do too much in that 2-hour group. Experience has shown that it can be just a little bit too heavy. So we tend to have a workshop or a guest speaker that lasts for up to an hour, and then an hour chill time. So the talks we've had in group, we've had a nurse come in to talk to us about hormones and how she looks after her patients, and that also then will tie in with some other stuff that we're going to mention later on. We've done a talk on suicide prevention. We've done some work with Spectrum Community Health on PrEP and sexual health. And we've been given some testing kits and one thing and another that we can give out if anybody should need one. We had the hate crime coordinator for Barnsley come in. She's since moved jobs, or she's retired actually. I have met a new hate crime coordinator, and she'll be coming back in just for a bit of a meeting with us just to say hello. We had Pippa's visibility in gaming. This was an awesome talk that Pippa did. She developed this for the group, particularly around trans and non-binary characters in gaming across the years. So we're not just talking about modern gaming of like today's type of games, we're going back way back to the beginning of gaming. Obviously Mickey's toys of my childhood, which was a bit of a laugh. And we've got Barnsley Museum's LGBTQ plus history talk, and that's led to 1 or 2 other things which we can mention later on as well. We did further funding.
So one of the things we talked about last time is that most people know that this is funded. It wouldn't exist without that funding that we initially got to allow us to start Trans Barnsley. I purposely left this blank. Ruth said to me, what shall we put on here? And I said, well, actually, let's keep it as blank as we can because we don't honestly know. What we do know is that the funding runs out at the end of March, so new funding will start beginning of April. We've kind of got an idea, we're feeling quite positive that funding is going to be available, aren't we?
We are.
For the forthcoming 12 months, which is great. But we've not had it signed, sealed and delivered as yet. So I'm just waiting for that. So I can't give you any confirmation and 100% guarantee that it's going to be there. But I think we're pretty positive that it is.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to ask for more money as well, so that we can increase hours. We need to increase hours because the social platform has got much bigger. And as Rule said, that needs moderating, it needs updating, it needs responses, and all those sort of things take a great deal of time. But it's pivotal that we maintain that social contact with people and that online presence, because for a lot of people, that's the only contact that they have with us, and that's the contact that they feel comfortable with. So it's vital that we keep that. So yeah, we think we've got the funding for next year, but we're not going to be too cocky about it at the moment. And I will be asking for more money, but it doesn't say up to anybody at this moment in time. So that's why it's kept blank. We've no idea how much it is, but once we do know for definite, we'll be posting it out there on social media. That's the message there. One of the things she said was that family support group would be amazing. You know, I think when we launched in Pride last June, there were a lot of people that came to school teachers, families, friends, supporters saying, how can I support my loved one that's trans? And since then, we've done a lot of work behind the scenes to try and work out at what level we need to support partners and families and friends and loved ones. And to be honest with you, we didn't know, so we just held a group, didn't we? And just see how it went. So we put this flyer out for parents and partners, and our first meeting was on 23rd February. Elaine, I know you're in the audience today, you came along to it. We're going to hold it monthly and see how it goes. But also, we had a lot of people that said, look, I do want support, I do want to come along to it, I don't think I'm ready to meet other people yet, but I want to hear what other people are saying. So for that, there was an opportunity to offer that online, which I did a bit of a video. Is that the next
Yeah,
slide?
the next
I did a bit of a video just to give people a resume of what we talked about in that first group.
Hi everyone, my name is Jane, and I just wanted to give you a bit of an update from Trans Barnsley. If you've been accessing our social media pages, you'll know that last night we had our first family and friends supporters group. And it went really, really well. We got a lot of feedback, and so I just wanted to let people know out there, because I know there are people that weren't able to make the group last night and have shown an interest and just want contact through online. So I thought I'd come today and give you a bit of an update about last night and how it went. So I guess the theme of the night was really, you know, what do people want? You know, we're here to offer a safe space and cups of tea and biscuits, but actually it's down to the people that make that group up. So, and the themes were things around, I want to meet other people that are having the same experiences as me, so that I can swap ideas, I can share my experiences, I can learn from other people. I want to feel that I'm not on my own going through this change with the person that I love, and I want to get to know the proper use of language, pronouns, what I should say, what I shouldn't say, all that sort of stuff. So that came through really strong, and you know, getting that support from other people is really important. I think the thing about how to cope, how to adjust with the change, the transition of a person, is a big thing for lots of people. And, you know, also wanting to know about the process of that transition as well. So if, as you might be a parent, if your child comes to you and says, this is what I want to do, what's the first steps? How do you have that conversation with a GP? Really down to the nitty-gritty sort of stuff like that. And also about how do you get that information? How do you know that that information is correct and accurate? You know, there's a lot of online forums, there's a lot of places online where you can buy hormones and binders and such things. How do you know what's good and what's not so good? So it's, you know, again, sharing and learning from each other around that. And, you know, the thing about not wanting to offend, so using the right language, wanting to increase your knowledge around trans issues, being involved, being interested, and supporting that person that you love as well. And as well as that, you know, just mentioned about that adjustment, managing your own feelings around this as well, not being too scared of change, and doing it with love and compassion and kindness, and just feeling good about you as well. And we also had a conversation about it feels like I'm living a lie, because they don't want me to tell anyone, or I don't want to tell anyone. So there were a conversation around that as well. So all different kinds of things, the information they get, the know-how, the processes, but also about how do I manage these feelings that I have as well around this adjustment, which is something that's beautiful as well, that we have to celebrate as well. So it's not all doom and gloom. We want to be able to share, celebrate, and look towards the future with lots of positivity. So if that sounds like it's something that resonates with you, that you think, I've been thinking about that, going through what I'm going through at the moment, then please get in touch with us. We do have our next meeting on Thursday, the 28th of February, which is 6 till 8. 23rd of February, not 28th. Can't read my own writing, 23rd. But also, we thought that because people had shown a lot of interest online, we could do something online as well. So, get back in touch with either myself, Ruth, or Mickey. They're far better at using social media than what I am. And let us know, if you want to do that. If there's enough to do an online thing, then we'll do that, as well as the face-to-face group as well. So both options are open, and I guess we just go with the flow and see what people are interested in and what their choices are. So I'm hoping that I'll see you soon, and that if you please feel free to get in touch, and we'll help you however we can. So yeah, see you later. Thank you, and take care of yourselves.
So from that, we've had some people that are interested that we know are hopefully going to come to do on the 23rd of February. But again, if there is demand there for an online, we can do an online one as well. We could do a bit of both really, so we'll do that. So yeah, that will continue. Even if there's only one person that turns up, it will continue. Because I think there's a need for it, and I think sometimes things grow very slowly. So we'll start off, we'll continue to do it. We'll start with a monthly thing. I'm looking at you, Ian, because I know you're quite to do it kind of like monthly, won't you? That's something like that. And then we'll just see how it goes from there. So yeah, just go with it. So thank you for that.
Thank you for actually doing the video, Jane. I mean,
I know.
Right, joint work with stakeholders. We've worked quite intensely actually with Chili Pep and their Pride at Home group. We've been delivering we've delivered a binder safety talk at Chili Pep. We're also in a situation where we can supply free binders as well into Chili Pep, as long as we've got the sizes correct, which is one of the things we insist on. So again, they're working with Chili Pep to provide binders to people. We've tied in with Health Watch for hygiene packs for both males and females. And we're in touch with Public Health for regular meetings and debates and support with funding requests. We're working with our members, as Ruth I think has already said. We're looking at setting up private online groups, such as Facebook, social, Discord. And those are being monitored by our members. So it means that they're taking some sort of ownership of the group, which is absolutely marvellous. It's what we want them to do. It's important that we work with these people, not just our members, but the other people, because it's all a tie-in. It's all about closing a loop. It's all about making life better for trans and non-binary people. So, off the back of that, what we've developed was a Trans Barnsley Charter, which is based upon our founding principles, I suppose. And you'll see there, kindness is at the heart of everything we do. So it's about consideration, it's about thinking for other people, about their journeys. Not every journey is the same. Honesty and authenticity. So we don't say, we are Trans Barnsley, we do this and don't do it. If we say we're going to do it, we're going to do it. It might take us sometimes a little bit longer than we want to, but we will get it done. And the point being that when we launched Trans Barnsley last year at Pride 22, a lot of people were asking for the family and partners kind of support. Yet it has taken us just under a year to get that up and running, but we have, and bearing in mind that that's now 2 groups we've got running, I think that's a lot of work. Group involvement, again, getting people to take an active role in group, whether that's in terms of being a volunteer or a buddy, or whether that is monitoring our social media, or even looking to design posters, whatever we need, we are a group. On reflection and education, we went through to some of the things that happen within the trans and non-binary society, and there's a drive within that to educate and promote what trans and non-binary is. The family and partners we've already talked about, and then we go back to this one, the last one, which is we're a team. So it doesn't matter if we're trans or non-binary or if we're allies. We're all one team, we're all working for one goal, and that is to make life better. The Trans Barnsley Charter will ultimately be the basis for something else. Again, I will talk about later on.
Can I just mention as well, Vicky, that what's really important about this is that this is being co-produced, co-designed with everyone from our group.
Yeah.
We've asked for feedback, so it's gone out on social media. That's what people want to try to include it in. And so people that come to our group and that have got access to us online have been able to share their thoughts about the content that we're putting in, if it's right. So it's not just something that we've just sat down and come up with. This is something that actually belongs to the people that Trans Barnsley is all about.
Yeah, and again, for the people that are here, if you want to cast your eyes over that, there are some copies there, and look on the blue boards on the back wall there are each individual page of the charter, so you can have a look at those as well.
I'm really proud of that.
Yeah. So to finish off this section, I want to share an email, I guess, feedback we had from somebody that has dipped in and out our group. So the group is set up, it is there every Thursday. Some people attend every week, like our Lynn's. Some people dip in and out when they need to. So I thought this was really good to show somebody that has done that and made use of Trans Barnsley and what we're about. So I just thought I'd share it with you. So it goes. I initially started coming for a sense of community and strength in my identity, and to remind myself that I'm not alone, as I was at quite a low point for a long while. But now that I'm doing far better mentally, I'm comfortable and content with my identity, myself, and my life. I don't have any plans to start attending again, but this is, as I mentioned, more because of my own well-being improving rather than my opinion of the group. Honestly, I think Trans Barnsley is a fantastic organisation and you all helped me immensely. I may turn up from time to time, but overall, thank you to you and everyone for all the help you provided me. That hit me quite hard when I got that email. I felt like we'd done what we'd set out to do for somebody. We were there when they needed us. They've gone on, they're living a better life now, but they know we're still here. If they need us, they can drop in at any time. So,
and that's the thing with Trans Barnsley, we already know that, it's not a club, it's not something you sign up to. You can dip in and dip out of it. You can come when you're low and you need support, and you can just crack on with your life when you don't need that support. We're here for you whichever way you need it. And as Bruce said, that was a very, very, very powerful email.
Equally, you can come when you're feeling really happy and want to support somebody else, or just, come for Lindsay's music and have a bit of a jolly good time. It's, whatever you need that week.
Awesome. So, time for a bit of a break, a bit of something to eat. There's some statements up there.
These statements are from the anonymous feedback survey, so we don't know who's given these comments. We have the survey up at group, so somebody can just do the QR code. It's on our social media. Anybody that's had any contact with us, either online, via our actual face-to-face group, can give us feedback at any point. And these are a few of those comments.
And if you look around the room, there's some quotes as well from our regional event, so you can see the other stuff that people have said that we've actually followed through as well. the charter, as Mickey mentioned, and then all our kind of posters and handouts and PR stuff as well that we're involved in. So please help yourself. If you go to the next room, there's samplers and lots of refreshments. There's drinks here as well, so please help yourself. And we've got probably about 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
Can I just say before we go, when you're looking around the room, you will see in theory 2 or 3 prototype posters for the safe shopping thing that we'll be looking at in the future. So just bear in mind they are prototypes, as are the pronoun ones. The pronoun ones are coming in through trust. We've agreed which way that's going to go now, but unfortunately they weren't ready in time for this event. Right, marvellous. Go and get yourself something to eat, and thank you very much.
We'll get the fun bit, fun bit for me and Jane. Statistics. So we've tried to do what was October, so when we last saw you in October, what the stats were, and then what we've got now. So as of the Thursday just gone, we've had 32 groups. When we saw you in October, we'd only had 17. The rest of the data, just to point out, the rest of the data is for 30 groups, so we haven't included the last 2 groups for the data. So we've now had 30 people through our doors. In October, we'd had 22. So we've now had 20 people that have attended 2 or more sessions. So it might not be straight after each other. One might be right at the front, one might right at the end. But there's 20 people out of those 30 that have attended at least 2. In October, we'd only had 15. And we've now had 8 people that have attended 10 groups or more. And our average group attendance is stable at 6 people. So that's the same it was in October. So we haven't gone up or down. We're pretty stable. So how have we been measuring suicidality? For those that were here last time, you might recognise Reqol, and obviously those that attend group, you're going to recognise Reqol. But just to say what we're going to be talking about basically, so why, obviously we need to measure suicidality, we need to measure how well people are doing when they are coming to group. So we chose the Reqol, made by Sheffield University, I think in 2018. It's now widely used within the trust as an outcome measure. So it's looking at recovery from quality of life. So quality of life, so how well somebody's life is. There is a question on suicidality, which we'll go into. So the maximum score you can get is 40. So if you get 25 or above, that is considered the range of the general population. 24 or below is clinical range, which usually means there needs to be some sort of intervention or something that needs to change in a person's life in order to improve those scores. And we get everybody that attends to fill this in at the beginning of every session. So we've got quite a lot of data. So to look at the question 6 scores, which for this question reads, I thought my life was not worth living. So this is a range from 0 to 4, 0 being that they're thinking about this often or all the time, and 4 being that they're never thinking about this. So the higher the score, the better. We've took the people that have come to 10 or more sessions, so their first average session is 2.38, their average last session 3.13. So that is a significant change of plus 0.75. And we've got similar results for those that have attended 2 or more sessions with the significant change of 0.65. So I know it doesn't seem a lot, but when you only can score 0 to 4, that 0.75 is a huge difference for that one question. So it kind of looks like we're doing what we're hoping to achieve. From their first session to their last session, their scores are improving. They are thinking, on average, less about taking their own lives. So the total scores. So like we said, the total scores, remember this is out of 40, 25 or more being within the general population, 24 or below being in clinical range. So the average for the first session, so this again, the people that have attended 10 or more, so we're taking those 8 people that have been seeing us consistently. So the average first session, 23.75. So we've ranged on Reqals from 16 to 36, so there's quite a big difference in people's average Reqal scores. And the average last session, 29.63 out of 40. Again, a reliable, significant change of plus 5.88. So those people that are attending more regular, we are seeing a significant uplift in their scores. And 23.75, the average is actually within clinical range, but the average last score is well above the clinical range, so they're in the general population. So overall, it's looking quite positive. And again,
it's interesting as well that it's just in those 10 sessions that people have been coming. That could have been 10 consecutive weeks, or it could have been over a few months.
Yeah.
The people that are dipping in and out are still coming back and still seeing an increase.
Yeah.
They're coming out of clinical range, so it's out of that area where we would have concerns for someone.
Yeah. And that shows again in the people that have attended only 2 or more. So those that haven't quite done the 10, we're still seeing similar figures. So we've still got a reliable change of 5.35, down from 5.88 on the last one. But even just attending 2 sessions is making a difference. We've still got that reliable change. So amazing. Like, where else can you say that? That's got that amount of change is incredible. So we've just got the average for all Reqals is 26.07. So even then that's the average for everything, taking everything in. So again, that shows the people that are attending more often, it bumps their average up. So we've just put this in last time to show the changes that we have had. And so this is the 20 people that have attended more than 2 sessions. So out of those 20, we've got 1 that's had no change, 15 improvements, we've had 4 deteriorations, but out of those, 10 have been reliable improvements. So out of those 15, 10 have been by 5 points or more, which is significant change for those 10 people. And we've only had 2 reliable deteriorations. But again, that's only 2 people out of those 20, and this is just their first score and their last score. So they may have had ups and downs in that. There might be other, things going off in their life. And I think it is important to show that they've still come to group, even though they've had that deterioration, they've still managed to get themselves here to group.
And it's interesting that we use the word deterioration, but it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody's become unwell.
Yeah.
Or that in terms of the suicidality, they're thinking more and more often about suicidality.
Yeah.
What it means is that for some people, and we know this having spoken to them, that deterioration is coming to group has given them the confidence to think, you know what, I think I'm ready now to start sharing my experiences with other people, to tell my family and friends and my loved ones that I am trans, this is how I want to live my life. And so that's brought about its own stresses. So people have deteriorated because they're going into the unknown and sort of like taking that big first step, which is massive. And they described it as it's kind of like the bad before the good comes. So that deterioration, we're hoping, is going to be short-lived. So it's going to be interesting to see how we do at the next stakeholder event to see if that deterioration continues to be reliable, or if it continues where people move out of that clinical range. Yeah,
but again, we can keep track of people's scores. So if we've seen a massive dip, it might be that we're going to have a conversation with somebody. If it's, it might be that they've come back up the week after. We're asking somebody to answer the Reqal based on their previous week.
Yeah.
So it might not be consistent. If it becomes consistently low, we might be having a bit more of a conversation. But I know for one of these, they're -5, they actually went from 36 to 31. They're still well above. They're in the normal population still. It's just they've had a bad week. It's not been the best of weeks, but we're never all going to be up there on 40 every week. It's not realistic. So just because it's moved 5 points doesn't necessarily mean that they're in clinical range and they need a big intervention. But we're seeing massive increases, plus 18, plus 11, plus 12. It's not just little increases with some people. So from last session in October, we mentioned that there was a 10-session questionnaire that had just started going out. We'd had a couple of people, I think, at that point that had attended 10 or more sessions. So now we've got a bit more of an update of what has actually come out of those questionnaires. So we've had 8 people, as we know now, that have attended 10 or more sessions. So we've had 8 people fill out this questionnaire. 7 of those have been transgender people and 1 as identified as non-binary. We've had 4 women, 2 men, and obviously 1 non-binary, and 1 has labelled their gender as working on it, which again, this group is here if you're not sure. So, you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
So 2 of them are living in Sheffield, 6 in Barnsley. 3, so this is not necessarily saying everybody's, or only 3 have socially transitioned, but it depends what they've put down on the form. They might not have put where they are on their journey. But 3 have mentioned social transitioned, 4 are on the gender identity clinic waiting list, 1's on hormones, one has said 1 on hormones, but almost non-existent social transition. So some people have started with a social transition, but we've also got people coming that are going down the medical route before they feel comfortable enough to socially transition. So where people heard about Trans Barnsley, it's interesting that half the people that filled this out are found us on social media. So Facebook, clearly, obviously this is only a small proportion of the people that we've asked, but to have half of them that are found us on social media means that is a big platform for us.
Again, it shows that we need to invest more in social media, because that is the first line of information for a lot of people, isn't it?
Yeah, and then again, like 2 founders at Pride. So again, Pride visibility this year will be really important for us. We've had 1 from CAMS and 1 founded in a local paper. So again, that is showing that if our information is getting out there to the right people, it is being shown. But this also identifies the gaps of where we might not be. So we want to see on this that if somebody's found us at their GP, that somebody's found our poster in their school, that somebody's in their colleges, you know, their local library, anywhere in the public, the way we can get, we want some people to be coming and saying, oh, I found you here, I found you there. You know, we want to be reaching a much wider area, and hopefully through our work the next few months and what we have done and the more questionnaires we get, we'll start seeing a few more places.
It's recognising that though, because we said, you know, Mickey, when you said we want you to be more visible, then we know that that's the kind of places that we need to be targeting now, so that we can get more people through. Yeah.
So we asked where anybody accesses any other support for their gender identity. So we've had people mention some other services. 2 have mentioned that they have support worker calls with the support worker from the Porterbrook Clinic. 1 has mentioned the Rainbow Project at Wath. 1 gender GP. 1 uses drag as an expression of their identity, you know. And 3 people have said no, just Trans Barnsley. So equally, it's great to see that people have got other areas that they're getting support. But there is some people that are just coming to us for that support. And then when asking about people in their lives that are supporting them, 6 people have said parents and friends, and 2 said everybody. So all 8 people that filled out this questionnaire, interestingly, have support. So the question we need to ask, again, is our gap of how are we reaching those people that have not got any of this support? There's people out there that don't have friends that have been supportive, don't have their parents on side. Are these people not turning up to group? Do they know about us? Do we need to be doing more effort in that area to reach them? So what first brought people to Trans Barnsley? We gave a lot of different answers that people could give. Interestingly, all 8 said meet others. I mean, why else would you come to a social group, I guess? But to meet like-minded people is important. We are social beings, regardless of whether we are introverted, extroverted. We all like to be around people that get us, I guess. 6 people put help with my mental health. We have put along workshops. Obviously, we've spoke about the talks we've had already, and the group schedule has reflected this as well. We had managing change last week. We've got anxiety, self-harm coming up. So we are implementing what we're seeing on these questionnaires. And another big one with 5 people, loneliness. And I know Jane will agree that, I guess we all agree that loneliness kills. So, loneliness is a big driver of suicidality. So equally, getting that social support can be the huge protective factor. So we want to be counteracting that. We've got 3 people saying to get advice. So it might be advice on medical transition, social transition, how to come out to our parents we've had. How do I tell somebody? So we've had somebody come out and knowing that they can come to group that night. So either way, whether it's gone good or bad, they've got somewhere to go to chill out after. And 2 people have asked to share their story. So equally, it's a good thing for people to feel safe, to actually be able to be heard, share their story, positive or negatives about their life. So we've also asked what difference Trans Barnsley has made to that person. So this is a few comments we've tried to group together. So 4 people have mentioned things like it's allowed me to find me, be more open, more sociable, more outgoing. So again, it's that sense of community, bringing people together. 3 have said that it helps me to feel more normal. I'm not alone. So again, looking at reducing that isolation, which means we're doing what's, is needed to combat that suicidality that we know can lead to that. 2 have said it gives me a reason to come out. I wouldn't miss it for the world. So it gives people a reason to step out their front door. They've got somewhere to go. They've got a reason to leave the house. 2 people meet people. Somebody said it's like a family. 1 to improve mental health. It's improved their mental health. And 1 person said that they've learned practical skills and solutions. So I think we've got a wide variety of things that people have said has helped them from coming to this group. And what difference Trans Barnsley's made to their loved ones. So they've said they're being supported by family, friends. So what difference has it made to that side? 5 have said that their family and friends are much happier. 3 have said that they are supportive, but some still do have their reservations. 1 has said they know I attend, that's about it. And 1 has said happy I have somewhere to attend. So I think this does kind of show the importance of the families and partners group as well. There is some understanding there with families, but there's clearly still a little bit of a barrier of how I support this person, but knowing that they've got somewhere to go like this helps them as well. Yeah. Over to you, Jay.
So obviously we've asked people to complete a Reqol when they come in. We are looking at suicidality and the level of attention for that as well. So one of the questions we asked was, have you ever had suicidal thoughts in your lifetime? And we asked for a kind of like an open dialogue on that. What did that look like? What does it mean? And we wanted to know what the severity was. And so 7 out of 8 people had said yes. So that's a significant amount of people that said, actually, I've had suicidal thoughts in my lifetime around their trans issues. And we want to know what the severity was. 4 have actually acted on these. So 2 people had actually attempted to take their own life, and another 2 had put plans in place but never followed it through. 3 people said that they had fleeting and frequent thoughts. Now, the thing about this is that you might think, well, fleeting and frequent thoughts, that's all right then, they've not actually done anything. But actually, what you have to think about when you look at that line of intention is that fleeting thoughts and the frequency of that, if that becomes more regular, if the frequency increases, that can then bring about somebody wanting to act on that. So that is as serious for us as actually acting upon those thoughts as well. So really, really serious. And I think what it shows as well is that people really struggle. It goes back to what you said about that loneliness kills, and when people feel isolated and lonely and they're not able to share that feeling, then that then impacts on how people consider their lives. When people become hopeless, then that again impacts on, well, I might as well not be here. So it's really, really an important question that we have to ask on a regular basis. It's why we do what we do and why we complete that Reqol. And of course, it's of no surprise probably that depression is a common theme for all of this. People, when we were looking through the questionnaires, were saying, I'm depressed, I was really depressed, I weren't in a good place. Nobody understood me, I had no one to talk to, I felt isolated. So again, that sort of like measures up with the good things that we've seen through Transparency Group. But yeah, depression is an ongoing common theme. So we do look at that when the workshops that we're putting on is about depression and managing that depression, managing the anxiety that comes along with it. So it's quite significant, this. So we need to try and look at this and try and reduce these figures as well.
And I guess this is showing that, because it's not just asking, obviously, you're filling out a Reqol, we've looked at those statistics that people are improving and that scores are fairly quite high generally. But when you ask people about their entire life, have you ever had these thoughts? And depression can come and go. So if they've had them before, it is a biggest risk factor for, taking your own life again, is having acted on it in the past.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
Do you know what? Just interestingly as well, we've not put it in this presentation, but the 2021 census has just come out. Well, we're still waiting for data to come through from that, but the demographics around sexuality and gender have just come out. And is it about 750 people in Barnsley that identify as either trans or non-binary?
I think so, yeah.
That's over 700 people that we had no idea when we first started this. We had no idea how many people there were in Barnsley. So we know that there's over 700, and they're the adults. Think on the kids that are coming through didn't complete the census. So we were going to, the chances are that number will continue to increase as well.
Mm-hmm.
So another reason why trans Barnsley is going to stay for that. Yeah.
So some good things, I guess. So what we asked everybody what they would want more from the group. So we've had things on workshops in trans history, activists that paved the way, which interestingly I think that survey was filled out just before we had the LGBT workshop, which was amazing again. So, but yeah, we can always do more, can't we? So reach out to those who can't attend group. As we've said, that's why we need to improve the social media, keep on at that. We need to reach that gap that people that are not coming to group, people that don't have that support. People ask for more focus and planning. That's another reason that why we've decided to put the schedule in place. People like to know what is coming up, but still having those chilled sessions. We've only got up to March, so from that we'll be again asking the group, what do you want? Let's put some things in schedule from April. More guest speakers, one-to-one support, more nights at alternative venues. December we went out bowling, we had a nice meal. We decided as a group that we would go to Chili Pep's Home Fest rather than having our own group. So the group actually met at Chili Pep and we had a night out there, which was really successful for everybody. Everybody loved being outside of group, meeting other people. Some people actually felt they only come here as their true selves. So to then be able to go to Chili Pep outside, it feel like another safe space where they could go as well, was really important. And then more social events to celebrate little wins. We are very big on giving ourselves a pat on the back, even just getting out your door and coming to this group. So I guess a little bit more of celebrating the little wins we have had. And then just to share one other, at the end we just asked other things you'd like to tell us. So these are some of the comments people have said. So some have said, the one that stands out for me on that one is trans Barnsley is a lifeline. That hits quite hard. So yeah, thank you for starting Trans Barnsley. I needed it. Keep doing what you're doing. Made my life a little better. All of us feel safe and wanted with no judgment. So social media. So last time in October, we did tell you how many followers we had, etc. So just to update you on that, I guess. So Facebook, we've gone from 117 in October to 154. This is a few days old now, so I think we've got a few more extra. Instagram from 169 to 241. Twitter from 43 to 61. LinkedIn followers have stayed stable, i.e. showing that the one platform we're not doing much on, we've not increased. And we've now got a YouTube channel, which Ireland has been helping with. And we've now, since posting Jane's video, we've got 10 subscribers now. We have. And then just to give a little snapshot of the, I guess, footfall on Facebook, 620 post engagements on Facebook in the last month. So that is not just seen our posts, that is actually liked, commented. So that's how many people have interacted with our posts in the last month, which I think is quite good. But we can do even better with more time, more money, more, resources. We just have to keep going. So on to next steps.
Right, well, what can I say? We're on to the fun stuff now. Next steps, recruiting more volunteers and buddies. Buddies are something we see as being helpful in terms of, just somebody that will meet you at the gate, somebody that will be on the other end of the phone if you need them. And the volunteers, we've got another volunteer with Lindsay's already volunteering, we've got another volunteer in the pipeline. So that's all positive stuff. As far as the trust is concerned, we've been doing some work with them on the transgender policy rollout, which will happen on the 31st of March. That's quite exciting for us, it's quite exciting for trust, and they're going to make quite a big thing of it. Why the 31st of March? Because that's going to be Trans Day of Visibility. So we're doing the whole thing at the right time. Right, okay, the Trans Barnsley Safe Business Charter, or SBC. This is something I touched on earlier on when we were talking about our charter. Our charter's going to be the base for the Trans Barnsley Safe Business Charter. This is where we need some help. This is where we need some serious help. So I'm talking to people from the council, I'm talking to people from the groups, anybody that can help support us, help fund this project, because it is really massive. It's too big for Trans Barnsley to do on its own, but it's necessary. With the new town centre and all the new developments going off, it makes a lot of sense for us to start looking at how we can promote trans non-binary people coming into town and using our stores, our shops, and feeling safe. So we have some plans for that, and the ideas around the stickers, to put in windows, visibility, and the fact that we have this SVC Safe Business Charter, which people will sign up to based on having some training or some awareness training so that they know what they're doing. So we see that's been really, really positive. I think that's one of the bigger challenges for the next 12 months for us. Improving the social media presence, as Ruth just said, we are doing that. There's always more room to do more if we've got more time or more funds, or we can get more people to do more help with us. Sometimes it's difficult when there are only the two of us to be trying to push everything. And as you can see, looking at this, there's a lot of stuff there.
This can also just be, you know, everybody has stakeholders, everybody in the room, everybody that'll watch this after, just sharing our posts, tagging us in their posts.
Yeah.
There has been people that have, like Health Watching, have been tagging us in posts. It just helps drive the social media that we can, the reach.
Yeah. We're looking to publish the research that's been done, so the stats that you've been looking at earlier on, to show just how the Reqols worked. And I mean, do you want to say a bit more about that, Ruth?
I guess we just want to publish whatever we can to help other groups as well. Other, you know, no other group that I'm aware of is measuring people's quality of life. And people are quite open. At the end of the 10-session questionnaire, we asked if anybody would be available for an interview. That did go in halfway through, so everybody since that question, I think there are 4 since then, have said yes.
And we've already notified different people in different areas to say, how did you set up, where did you start from? What did you do, where you did? So I think it's definitely there, but we know, having looked at research that is available, it's minimal, it's quite anecdotal, it doesn't really get to the crux of linking suicidality with trans people and what we can put in place to support them.
And then through that, the hope is that we can get more funding if we've got published research out there to show exactly what we have been doing, what's worked, what hasn't worked. It can, yes, help other groups, but then ultimately get more funding for Trans Barnsley in the long run.
Okay, we're looking to attend some more prides this summer, so we're certainly on with Barnsley and Doncaster, which are the 2 we did last year. And we're probably looking at maybe it's Wakefield, or if there's I don't know if there's an event in Sheffield this year. But certainly the Wakefield Pride, and probably a couple of the other more local ones, if we can get. And it's certainly liaise further with other groups. We've done an amazing amount of liaising with other groups. So whether that's Trans Wakefield or Chili Pep, lots of other trans groups, lots of other non-binary groups. And so we're forging all those links. We've been forging those links now for nearly 12 months. And that's reciprocal working. So we do some things for them, they do some things for us, and it all works. And all these things are really great and exciting. There's a few things that aren't on there. So probably because it's like all the news that's new and approved right now. Through the Tate Gallery in association with the Diane Arbor photograph exhibition that's going on at Civic in Barnsley, we managed to get the group onto an LGBT poetry session with an LGBT poet, and off the back of that then we've got our own photo shoots, and depending on how you feel about that one, you know, you can either have the photographs just for yourself, or you can do a big show off like me and just sign them across to the Tate and let them bang them across, and see what happens. In conjunction with some of the other stuff I talked about earlier on, one of the things that's not on there is we decided as late as Friday last week that we are going to start as soon as Monday next week, tomorrow, formulating some proper training awareness sessions. So there'll be a presentation, something like this, with exercises and bits and pieces. Why are we going to do that? Well, we just did some training, awareness training in Penison practice. We didn't have a lot of time, to be fair, we only had half an hour and we didn't have a really good break. But nevertheless, we did all right. Why do I need to do that training then? Well, because we get an approach now from all sorts of directions. We've got people in Cheshire and the Wirral saying, you know, we need some training. We've got people in London saying we need some training. Can you do it? Oh, they found us. Have no idea. They have. We know that somebody was talking to a nurse in Manchester and they said, "Oh, Barnsley are doing amazing things." No idea who that person was. Thank you very much. The name's getting out there though. So we need to get some proper transgender awareness training and some proper non-binary awareness training and a mixture of the both, so that we can get that out, and that will help make it sustainable. And it will also work within the charter, which says that we want to promote the trans and non-binary people and awareness and education. So loads and loads and loads of things. Even if they're not on there, there are loads of things to do. Barnsley General Hospital Trust have also asked us to get involved. We had an email from them Thursday, from their maternity unit. And again, what's interesting is the language of that email, because there is confusion, and you can see that. And so we need to go in and rectify that, because they were asking about trans women in maternity. Well, I think we mean trans men. But we need to be able to get around that and educate. So we should be talking to them hopefully this next week or so, getting back to them and doing stuff. So there's loads and loads and loads of stuff.
Can I just mention as well, Mickey, about you touched on it with GPs, going to GPs.
Yes.
One of the things that we've looked at is devising a GP toolkit so that GPs are fully aware, they're educated, they're insightful, and we've raised awareness with them about what happens when someone who is trans approaches their GP. Nobody should go to a GP in this day and age and say, "I'm trans," and the GP turn around and say, "I can't help you." You know, that's not even an option. It should be about, right, we know what's going on. We know that there is a GP that's really interested in trans issues that will actually help other GPs out. We know that there are links, there is information online from NHS England that can support GPs in how to help someone that's trans as well. So it's getting that toolkit together to be able to offer it to every single GP, so that anybody across the borough gets a standardised approach when they do go to the GP. So
and what's interesting there, Jane, if I just add to that, is, and Ruth touched on this earlier on with Gender GP. Gender GP is an online system for getting hormones. It's an online GP. Not something I would personally recommend, principally because we've got issues and questions about monitoring and blood tests and all that sort of stuff. by having an NHS GP who is a gender specialist, we can direct the GPs we're in touch with to that gender specialist, which means that in theory, if the gender specialist agrees, we can get bridging prescriptions for hormones until that person gets to clinic. And that's important because the waits for clinic are about 5 years. So by getting people the hormones in the right way, monitored, we're not only dealing with a suicidality issue, but we're dealing with a general health issue.
Yeah.
Because these hormones, you've no idea where they're coming from. If you're not looking after yourself, you can mess your kidneys up, your liver up, and all sorts of things. So it's really, really important that they are monitored. So we found this GP that will do that as well. So that also ties in with the GP thing. So there's loads and loads and loads of exciting stuff. Most of that last stuff, the stuff that I've mentioned that's not on here, is like so new. It's happened in the last few days. But this is how transparency works. So many things happen, and we just go, okay, we need to do that. How are we going to do it? How do we fund it? How do we get money in for doing certain jobs? We are making a difference. I can say, hand on heart, we are making a difference. And long may that continue.
Okay.
We're on to our questions.
Right. Thank you for that. These are just a couple of comments that we thought we'd put on, show you. But now we have come, I guess, to the end of the presentation. This is where now we look at you as stakeholders, where we've got a couple of questions. One of them is around, for the purpose of the presentation, is around the business charter that we want to look at, how we get that out to local businesses around town centre and further afield. And then the other one is to ask you as stakeholders, what have we missed? So we're going to bring this presentation to a close now. We're going to get on with the work. But whatever we get from that exercise, we'll put on social media as well so that people can see that one able to come today.
Whatever we do, just as a point when that goes on social media, because it will get sent, that link will get sent out to all our stakeholders. So for any of the stakeholders that weren't here today, if you do have any suggestions or anything, please come back to us and pass us those suggestions. And if you can help, all the better. Please, if you can help, please do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks for that. See you soon. Thank you.